Hello everybody, welcome back to day 6 of my spring 2021 series. I can't believe we're already on the last day. It's just absolutely crazy how fast these 6 days have gone. I've loved all of your comments this week, and I've loved all your likes, and everyone who is a new subscriber. I am so excited to have you guys on board. This series is a collaboration with Rosa Scrapbooking and Deborah Adams from Deborah Adams Creative Life, and their YouTube channels will be linked below this video, so you can check out their channels and their projects for this 6-day series. All right, so let's measure this. So it measures, the spine is 1.5 inches. And I believe it is 9 by 7. Yep, so this folio is 9 by 7. So it is absolutely gorgeous. I used the Cartabella Flower Market paper collection for this. So let's open it up. So this is what it looks like. It does have this beautiful lace closure. And on this side here, so they're identical on both sides. So it has a magnetic closure over here, and then it has a waterfall, and then that closes it up, and then it has 2 tags that pull out from both sides here. These are separate pockets inside, and then it opens up like this, and it has a large spot for photos on this insert here. And then over here, it has 2 large pockets with big photo mats in them. So it has 2 of these. And then back here, it has another large pocket with space for 4 photos on it. And then that just goes right back inside here. And then there is another insert over here with space for 2 large photos. And then the other side is the same. So it has your waterfall pages here, and then a spot for photos back here, and then it closes up and it has the double pockets with your tags coming out from both sides, just like that. And then it opens up, and you have another large pocket here for photos. And then there is a pocket here and a pocket here. And then there's another large insert right there, and then another large insert back here that comes up. So you can add all kinds of photos for that. So I hope you guys are excited for this tutorial. So like I said, all you need to do is comment down below on all 6 videos, leave me a comment, and then you need to be a subscriber, and then I'm going to pick a winner from one of those comments. So this is what we're giving away, the adorable little brag book that we made on day 1 of this series together. I absolutely love this little brag book. I love that it says 2021. It's perfect for grad season, for Mother's Day, for any of that. This will go to anybody in Canada or the US. If you are international, like outside of Canada or the US, I will send you a $25 PayPal credit. Okay guys, the winner will be announced May 3rd. If you haven't yet commented on the videos, go back and comment on my videos, on Rosa's videos, on Debbie's videos. Make sure that you are subscribed and that you are a visible subscriber. Thank you so much for joining me for this, and let's get on to the tutorial. Okay guys, so to create the cover for our book, or a folio in this case, you're going to need 2 pieces of your medium weight chipboard that measures 7 by 9. So you're going to need 2. And to wrap those 2 pieces, You're gonna need a piece that measures 9 by 11. I am trying the new Recollections. It's like a woven cardstock to wrap my album with today, but you would just use 65-pound weight paper, not heavy cardstock to wrap your albums with. And then for the spine piece, you're gonna need one that measures 1.5 by 9 of your chipboard. And then for your cardstock, you'll need 4.5 by 11. So let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is wrap our larger piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my Fabri-Tac to the back of this. You guys know I like to use this glue when wrapping my covers. And we're just gonna set it in here right in the center, leaving about 1 inch of space around all 4 sides. And then I just kind of like to wiggle it so it settles in. And I'm going to set that aside to dry for a second. And we'll glue this spine piece down as well. Put your glue on there. And we're going to center that in here. So you have about 1 inch at the top and bottom, and about 1.5 inches on the sides. Just like this. And just again, just wiggle it and then it settles in, and we'll dry that, let that dry. All right, so for this piece again, this is our larger one. We're gonna go ahead and fold all of the cardstock over top of the chipboard and give it a good burnish. Okay, so now just by folding, we've created these 4 squares in all 4 corners. And we are just going to cut across, cutting that square off and leaving about 1/16 of an inch of space between the chipboard, where the chipboard ends, and the pattern or the cardstock starts. About that much space. Now we are going to go ahead and glue the flaps down. So I'm going to start with these 2 shorter sides, and I'm going to use my art glitter glue. So first I'm going to run a bead right along the chipboard, and then all over the cardstock, and bring it up and over. And then I'm going to burnish it down with my bone folder. Just like this, and then I like to pick it up, and with this edge, just like thick edge of my bone folder, just go over it, and that makes it look nice and square. Okay, so we've wrapped this one, and you're going to want to repeat the same steps and wrap your other 7 by 9 piece of your chipboard. And now let's work on the spine. So the first thing we're going to do with the spine is bring up these 2 1-inch sections along the long side and fold them over the chipboard, just like this. And you can even start to bring them in here like that. And now we're gonna take our glitter glue. We're gonna go right up against the spine, and I'm gonna go all over this area. And I might even just put a little dab along these two sides. And then we'll bring it down and over. And I like to start by going in the middle and smoothing it out so there's no bubbles. Then I go down the sides and over like this, and then down the side and over. Just like this. Get it really nice and creased and molded along that chipboard. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now what we need to do is fold up both sides of the cardstock over top of the chipboard and give that a really nice crease. It's like this on both sides. Just make sure you get these sides really nice and burnished, the thicker sides up here at the top and bottom. Just like that. All right, so now what we need to do is take our scissors and we are going to snip from about, I would say, 1/8 of an inch away from the chipboard here. So like there, down to where our folded over cardstock ends. So just about like this. Leave about that much space, about the same amount of space as the where it's bent in there, okay? And same thing here. Just leave that little bit of space. I just find it gives a bit of a cleaner finish. Just like that, okay? And now we need to add tape to the back side of the flaps. So this is technically the inside. This is the outside. So we need to add tape here. And I'm going to start my tape about 1/8 of an inch down from where my chipboard is underneath there. And I'm actually going to take my tape past this line so that I know that I have full coverage, and then we'll trim that off after. Now we can go ahead and burnish our tape on really well, just like so. And now we're going to bring our covers back in, our two covers that we created. And what's going to happen is I'm just going to remove one on one side of my spine here. I'm just going to remove the backing off of one piece of my tape. And I'm going to bend it back just like this. And I'm going to grab one of my covers. I'm going to line this edge up directly to this edge here, the long edge. Just like that. So this is what you want it to look like there. And then I'm going to grab my little pick tool, but you can just use your fingers. And I'm going to take the backing off the other two strips. just like so. And then we can burnish this down. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other one. I'm going to take one strip off here and grab my other cover and fold this back and line it up along this edge. And then flip it over. And we'll remove those two extra backings. Like so, and burnish that on just like that, and then that gives you that beautiful clean spine look there. So to cover the inside here, you're going to need a piece that measures 4.5 by 8 3/4, and I've gone ahead and added my score tape all over the back of it. I'm going to remove the backings. Alright, so the backings are removed. So now I'm going to go ahead and place this on here so that it's equal on both sides, and I leave about 1/8 of an inch from the top and bottom. Just like so, and then place it down. And then I'll go ahead and grab my bone folder and just really burnish it nicely on both sides. And then you can start lifting and burnishing it into the crease on both sides. And then that finishes at the inside of the cover really beautifully. Okay, so both sides of our folio are going to be identical. We're going to start on the front inside cover here. So for that, first we're going to have a flap that's going to come in from this side here. And that flap measures 7.5 by 8 3/4. And then on the 7.5 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 and at 3/4 of an inch. So it's going to give you a little 1/4 inch gusset there. We are going to build this flap before we attach it into the book. So on your little 1/2 inch flap, we're just going to go ahead and miter our corners before I forget. Just like so. So on top of this flap, there's going to be a waterfall, and your waterfall pieces are going to measure 6 5/8 by 4 3/4. And on the 4 3/4 side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch on all 4 pieces. And now we are just going to fold these over and burnish them. And they're going to line up towards the outside of our flap here, not towards the score line here, towards the outside of our flap here. So all the way to the edge here and all the way to the top. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of my glue to the flap. Just like this. And we don't miter the waterfall pieces, the corners. Don't miter them. All right, so it's going to line up all the way to the top and all the way to the outer edge, just like this. And then go ahead and burnish that on. And then the next one is going to go right below that one. So again, we fold and burnish, just like this. And before you glue it on with the second one, I always like to line it up. Make sure that it lines up nicely. I add any glue. So go ahead and put it, again, the glue on your flap. And line it up to the bottom of this and to the outside edge of your flap. Before I move on, I always like to close it over and make sure everything's nice and lined up. And then I can burnish that flap down. And you're going to attach the other pieces, the other two pieces the same way. Okay, so I've attached the 4 waterfall pieces. So along the bottom here, there's going to be a pocket. So the pocket measures 6 1/4 by 4. And on the 6 1/4 inch side, you're going to score 1/2 inch. And then on the 4 inch side, you're going to score 1/2 inch on one side and 1/2 inch on the other to create a little pocket. And then we'll go ahead and again, just cut across that little square that we created just by scoring. And then fold and burnish this really nicely. And then our pocket is going to get attached along the score line here. So all the way to the bottom and along the score line. So I'm just going to add some glue just to my bottom flap first. Just like this. And I'm going to attach it all the way to the bottom. And then to the score line. Not right up against the score line, like just slightly away from it. Just like so. And then we can press it down like this. And then I will put glue on my other 2 flaps and bring them over and then burnish that down. Just like this. All right, and then on top of this pocket, there's going to be a smaller pocket that measures 4 by 4 1/2. And on the 4 1/2 inch side, you're just going to score 1/2 inch. And on the 4 inch side, you're going to score 1/2 inch on both sides. And again, we're just going to burnish that like this. Give it a really nice burnish and then cut those corners out. So this pocket is actually going to get attached the opposite direction of this one. So this one opens on this side, and we're going to put this one on here so that it opens to this side. All right, and I'm going to place it about right here, so about 1 inch from this side and this side. And we're going to add glue to the bottom flap and place it on top. Just like so. And give that a good press down. And burnish it. And then we'll put glue on these flaps. And then just bring that over and down. And burnish that. Just like so. So it's really, really nice and flat on top of there. All right, so you have one pocket that opens here and then one pocket that opens on this side. So I just thought that would be kind of fun. Now for the closure of our waterfall, I have a piece that measures 2 by 4 1/2. And on the 4 1/2 inch side, you're just going to score at 1/2 inch. And this is just going to come right in here. So basically what I do is I kind of just put it right under that bottom flap and then place it where I want it and then that's where I glue it down. So we're going to put a little bit of glue here, just like this, on the bottom of our flap. And I'm going to put it right underneath there, as centered as I can. Maybe move it over a scotch. And then place it on there. And then you can open up your flaps and burnish it down really well. And then that, we're gonna add a magnet here, and that's what's gonna keep this one closed. But I don't wanna add the magnet until we attach it into the book, because things could shift and I want my magnet to be in the right spot. So I'm gonna grab my book, and this flap here is going to get attached along this side here, and we're basically just going to center it top and bottom, because our book is 9 inches and this flap is 8 3/4. So we're just going to take a little bit of tape off one side of it, bend it back, and then line it up where we want it. What I like to do is I like to fold it over so my 1/4 inch gusset is folded down, so that all that's over here is the 1/2 inch. So I can really see where I'm lining it up. Once you have it lined up, you can go ahead and press down over here, and then just remove the rest of your adhesive, or the backing I should say. And then we can open it up and burnish it. Just like so. And then that attaches that little flap in. So let's grab our magnet. So I've just got my basic gray magnets here, and I'm just going to get a plus and a minus. So these are awesome because they already have the backings on them. So I'm going to take the backing off of one of them and place it on the flap where I'd like it. And so I've already snapped them together, and then I took the backing off the other one and just bring it down and over, just like so. And then that's going to keep that really nice and closed. Okay, so this is the front of our flap. So we're going to open it up, and on the inside back here, we're going to have a large pocket. And our large pocket measures 8 by 8.5. And on the 8 inch side, you're going to score it 1/2 inch on both sides. And on the 8.5, you're just going to score just one little 1/2 inch line. So you have a 1/2 inch flap at the bottom, and then 2 on the sides. And then we are again just going to cut our corners out, just like this. And I'm going to attach this so that it is almost completely along this, the folding line here. I want to keep it more to this side than this side, because I don't want it to bump into my spine, because then our folio won't close. So I'm going to add my glue, which is eternally clogged, to this flap here. Just my bottom flap for now. And I'm going to close it over. I'm going to still close my sides in and line it up right all the way to the bottom of my book, and almost completely along this side, so that I leave as much room over here as possible. And you can even try to close your book to make sure it closes before you really press down. And you can even close this flap and then open it and burnish it down. And then we will add glue to these flaps, just like so, on both flaps. And then bring those up and down. just like that. And then you can grab your bone folder and burnish that glue down. Just like that. All right, and that puts your little pocket in. Right, so now we have another pocket here that measures 4.5 by 9, and on the 4.5 inch side you're going to score it 1/2 inch, and then on the 9 inch side you're going to score 1/2 inch top and bottom, and this pocket is just going to go right along here, right on top of this pocket. So we can go ahead and fold and burnish our score lines. Just like so. And then cut across our corners. Both sides. And then it will get attached right on top of this pocket here. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and add glue to this flap. Our long, well, side flap, I guess, but the long one. And I'm going to attach it all the way to the bottom and top, and all the way to the side over here. So just kind of scooch it till it's in place. And once you have it where you want it, you can go ahead and burnish that down. The secret to a really nice, finished, professional looking book is burnishing. Getting everything really nice and flat. And now we'll add glue to these flaps. Just like that. And bring them over. And grab your bone folder. That's okay if glue squishes out. The art glitter dries clear, but if you have a glue that doesn't, you can just have a little rag by your side so that you can just wipe away that glue. All right, so burnish those down really nicely. So now you've got your nice flat pocket that opens to this side. Now on top of that pocket, we're gonna have two more. So this pocket, the first pocket we're gonna put on here measures 5 by 6.5. And on the 5 inch side, you're gonna score it 1/2 inch on both sides. And on the 6.5 inch side, you're just gonna score 1/2 inch on the bottom. And we will go ahead and fold and burnish. Just like so. And then cut those corners out. And then this pocket is going to get attached all the way to the bottom and to both sides of this one here, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and add glue again, just to my bottom flap for now. And attach it all the way to the bottom. And make sure it's nicely in there on both sides. And then once you have it in place, you can open up and burnish it. And then we'll add our glue to these two flaps. The two longer flaps. fold it up and over, and burnish it on. Get it really nice and flat. All right, and then we have another little pocket that's going to go on top of here, and this one measures 4 by 5. And again, on the 5-inch side, you're going to score it 1/2 inch on both sides. And on the 4-inch side, you're just going to score 1/2 inch at the bottom. And we're going to fold and burnish those. Just like this. And cut across those corners. And then this one is going to get attached along the bottom, right on top of our previous pocket. Just going to burnish this a little bit better. Make sure it's nice and flat. And then we're just going to put glue just on the bottom flap for now. And just glue it right along the bottom on top of there. And that's why we need that 1/4 inch gusset here, because we have 3 pockets right on top of each other. So that definitely needs some space. And then open it, and then we'll get glue on these. Like that, and bring that over top. Just like this. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same steps on this side. The only difference over here is, so our pocket opens on this side here. When I do that on here, the pocket's going to open, the pocket basically opens coming towards the inside of the spine on both sides. But other than that, it is identical. So I'll be right back once I finish that, and then we'll add some more to this side. Okay, so I went ahead and finished this side over here, the other side, and I added an angled pocket to the back of this flap here with the waterfall on it. So I'm going to show you how to do that on this side. So you're going to need a piece that measures 7 3/4 by 8 1/2, and then on the 7 3/4 side, you're going to score 1/2 inch on both sides, and on the 8 1/2 inch side, you're just going to score 1/2 inch at the bottom. So for this pocket here, what I did is I took my ruler, and I measured in 2 inches. So once this is folded over the side of the flap, from that I measured in 2 inches, okay, like this. And I made a line here, and then down here at the bottom on this side, so the opposite of this side, I measured up from the bottom 2 inches and made a line, like a little tick mark, and then I cut across here. Now for this side, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to measure in 2 inches from this side and 2 inches up from the bottom on this side, okay? So that we get one pocket that's facing inside over here and one that's facing inside over here. So you're just going to do the opposite. So on this side, we measured in 2 inches from this side, and on the other side, we measured in 2 inches from this side, and then 2 inches up from the bottom over here. But for this one, we measure in 2 inches from this side and 2 inches from the bottom here, okay? Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our paper trimmer. So I'm just gonna close up the folio for a second here. And we're gonna get our paper trimmer. First, let's go ahead and fold over our flaps. that. All right, so I've made my 2-inch mark here, like this. And I've made my 2-inch mark from the bottom here with the flap folded over. Then you measure 2 inches up, okay? Like this. So now I'm going to put it in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to fold over this side, the side that has my little 2-inch mark. I'm going to fold it over, and I'm going to align them in the paper trimmer so that we're going to cut from that tick mark down to this tick mark. So just line them up. Make sure your flap is folded over so it cuts at the same time. Then I'm just gonna cut across, just like that. So you're gonna cut that section off. Then we can put the paper trimmer away. And then when you open that flap, you're gonna see you have this little like triangular piece sticking up. You're just gonna take your scissor and angle cut that off just like this, okay? Now let's bring our folio back in. So again, this is going to go on the back side of the flap with the waterfall on it. And I'm going to cut across these corners. So just cut across. And that one as well, just like this. You get your nice folds, and I'm going to align it so that it's right, this side here is right along aligned with this side. So I'm going to start again with my bottom flap. I always like to start with the bottom of my pockets, just like that. And you can close these flaps in so it's easier to see. And then just line it up all the way to the bottom of the flap and then all the way to the side of it. And you can open it up and press it down. All right, and then we can add glue to this small flap over here and this one over here. And then bring that over. And then we'll just burnish it down. Just like that. It's nice and flat. All right, and then that's your cute little angled pocket. That's going to fold over the top like this. Now let's talk about inserts. So the inserts, I'm going to go from back or from front to back and tell you guys the size of all the inserts. I've already matted mine and put them inside, but I'm going to tell you the sizes of all of them. So on your little front pockets here, these little two that we created here, these ones measure 2 3/4 by 6, and they're the ones that just fit right in here. And so that would be both of these two. And then these little guys measure 4.5 by 2 3/4, and that is the same on this side. So all I did for the matting is I just went down 1/4 inch, and for these guys, like the little tag top, I just used my We Are Memory Keepers angle and photo punch. And all that I do, just so I can show you guys how to get a nice clean edge for your tags, I don't have any black cardstock here, but imagine if this was our black base and then this is our layer. I actually, so I cut my base and then I cut my layer a 1/4 inch smaller. And then I actually layer them together, corner to corner like this. And then I put them in the angle punch and I punch them like this. And then I bring it out and layer it together. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. That's the easiest way, I think, to do the little tag layers if you're gonna go for that shape. And then on the inside here, so remember everything I'm telling you is gonna be repeated on the other side. So you just need to know one side of measurements. So in our angle pocket here, this one measures, this one measures 6.5 by 8.5. And then again, I matted mine on both sides, and you just go down a 1/4 inch with your matting. Okay, so 6.5 by 8.5 for the angle pockets here. And then this insert here with this side pocket measures 6.5 by 7 3/4. And again, I matted mine on both sides. And that guy just lives right there. And then these guys here measure 7 3/8 by 3 3/4. And then for the matting, I just cut it down to 7 1/8 by 3.5. And then I left the back of these ones blank, just like with the other tags in the front, because that is where I'm going to, have room for journaling with a white gel pen. And then this one here is 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. And again, just go down a 1/4 inch for your matting. And then the large one back here, I did this one. This one measures 8.5 by 6.5. And with this one, I just did photo mats instead of one large mat. And these are 6 1/4 by 4. Okay, and I did 2 on both sides. So there's lots of nice space for photos there. So those are all of our mats. I want to show you guys one thing before I throw on the decorating process video. To get your angle pocket layer over here, I'm just going to show you guys how to do that. So all I did is I cut down a piece to 6.5 by 7 3/4. And I am using, for this book, I'm using the Farmhouse Market by Cartabella. So it's designed by Jen Allison. It's absolutely gorgeous. Cartabella has that beautiful textured paper. I absolutely love it. So this is the collection I'm using. And it's a perfect collection for this because you don't need a whole ton, because we are, matting a lot with just the pink cardstock. So 6.5 by 7 3/4. And then all I did was lay it right on top of here, making sure that I have a nice even layer, and a nice even black border on my 3 sides. And then here, where our little pocket begins, I'm going to mark down about 1/8 of an inch. And up here, I'm going to do the same thing, okay? So I have a tick mark here, and I have a tick mark here. And now I'm going to grab my cutter, and I'm going to connect those 2 tick marks. So let me go upside down here. So I'm going to connect them and cut across like we always do. You could also just measure in 1 3/4 inches, but I just find this gives me way better of a precise cut to do it this way. And then this is just going to glue right on top there, and you see that nice beautiful black border all the way around. I like this plaid side too, but It's really hard to pick with this collection which side to use because I literally love every paper in it. And it's the collection I have, there's only one of each sheet. So that is the problem sometimes with double-sided paper. All right, and that just layers right in there. Okay, I'm gonna throw on the decorating process video and I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you at the end. Okay, so for the closure of the album, we're going to use this stretchy lace. I just got it at the fabric store, and I'm just going to put a little bit about right there on the front, and I'm going to try to line it up on the back so it's around the same area. I'm just putting a little bit of tape just to hold it in place. And then we're going to take the backing off and then just put a little bit of it on there and then bring it around to the front, and we will take the backing off of that, and then you kind of just decide how much you want for your bow. I like kind of larger bows, so I'll probably go to about here and then just cut it off. All right, and then we're going to use Fabri-Tac to attach our front panel because we're using the lace there. All right, so I'll just get a little bit on there just to make sure I'm getting it, and then get it on here. And I'm going to use Fabri-Tac to attach the rest of my layers as well. So just get this one on here. So pretty. I just love that. And just give it a good rub, make sure it's on properly. And then for the spine, you are going to need a piece that measures 1 1/4 by 8 3/4, and I'm just going to go ahead and just use my little distress tool to distress that a bit. I don't do a lot of distressing on the inside of my albums just because it does add bulk when you do the distressing, but on the outside I really like the way it looks. It really softens it up. So I'm going to get my glue on here. My bottle is running low. And then we are going to add this to the spine, just like so. Looks very pretty on there. And then we will just put the back on as well, which I'm not doing anything with. I just cut it down to 6 3/4 by 8 3/4. And we're just going to enjoy that beautiful paper on the back. Just like this. So pretty. I absolutely love that. All right, and then to tie the bow, we are just going to cut that in half there. Or not in half, but you know what I mean. And then tie the bow. And I think this really matches well because it's kind of the vintagey theme. I absolutely love it. So that is our book decorated and our tutorial finished. I hope you really enjoyed this. I really like this book. It's probably the thinnest folio I've done. If not, it's up there. But I really love it. It's super pretty. So I hope you guys are back tomorrow for the last day of our spring series. I'm very excited for it. And if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. I absolutely would appreciate that. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.